spiritual beings. That meaning, if you're not spiritual, you can do what you want. Can you do what you want right now? Of course you can. So does that mean you're on a spiritual path? No. When you get complete freedom from spirit, God, whatever you want to use for that aspect, you are put in this place of total responsibility. I don't think people understand the word responsibility. Every action, every thought, what you put out is your karma. And Jesus said it's not what you put in your body, it's what comes out. So if you're spitting out words like love is all that matters, compassion, unconditional love, we can have the perfect world, we will not have a perfect world ever. Perfect is the way God designed the body, and we managed to destroy that. So the word perfect in the hell zone, planet Earth, you might not like that word, but it doesn't happen. It never has. Except for one time. But other than that, we have been mass killers. To this day, we're violent, angry animals, for a word. I mean, what's the difference between a lion and the average person? A lion eats when they make their wife go out and get it, their mate. They're bigger and stronger in a lot of ways, but they're usually lazy and just sit around. So how much different is the average man? Oh, they go to work, and what do they do? Just sit around and go to sleep, watch TV, drink. That's interesting about the chemtrails. Thanks for that. So chemtrails are making people sick, yes. Here in Hawaii, I think everybody's sick and going through stuff for a reason right now. That the chemicals that are coming out of the volcano, whether it's they're really fighting with aliens inside there and everything else, who knows, who cares right now. It's not a part of what I'm talking about. But it is affecting us. It's raining chemtrails over us every other day yet. I can't imagine why. We're already so toxic. But I guess they figured if they had a little more toxics in there, it'll do what they're doing it for. And that's something outside the box, but people don't want to know it. But if you breathe air, you should be thinking about it. Because every breath you take, that was a song, you're inhaling chemtrails. And they're metals that go to the brain and block the brain thinking. So just things you need to work on. When you work on your spiritual self, and you're living in this world, you got to be realized to what's going on in this world, because it affects you just as much. Now, I can go on about things because most speakers out there, and I listen to every one of them. His stories sound incredible, which is fine. Okay, tell a great story. How much does it help reality? How much does it help you? And how much is it going to help the world itself? Talking about ships in the sky, okay, they're there. Now what? What are they there for? How many people can answer that? In the UFO world, they don't know. I don't care how many they saw. I saw over maybe 2,000 ships in my life already. I've been dealing with this light ship for 2 years. I mean, but so what? They haven't manifested anything important in my reality. They haven't created any scenarios that are beneficial to the world. So when we talk about things, are we looking at what we're dealing with? So when we talk about where are we going to get our help to get out of this box, to look and see the real world? It's nowhere other than inside yourself. If you look outside, you'll never find it. Because we talked about ghosts and angels. But here's the thing that's throwing everybody off right now. And I call that psychics. There's some good psychics out there. TJ's a psychic. There's a couple of psychics that I know that are good. There are many that are not. By that I mean they tell you what you want to hear and take your money, and that's it. Are they going to tell you that if you go out tomorrow at 3 o'clock, you're going to get run over by a bus? I doubt it. Even if they saw it, are they going to tell you? I don't think so. People don't pay money for the truth. They pay for a lie. And I prove that over and over in all the shows that I did. People rather hear some stupid story rather than know the truth. So when a psychic tells us things, what do you get out of it? I want to get a healing. People think and still believe that they can get healed outside themselves. Sure, you got a cancer, you go to the doctor and let them cut it out, or a growth, things like that. But the aspect of all around that. Do you heal the problem that caused the problem? That's where we need to work from, to heal soul. All the things that soul is lacking into that's not beneficial for it, that keeps it here. I mentioned the 5 things last week: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. Oh yeah, they're the things. Yeah, I break them down into more simpler words that people understand. Drinking, smoking, sex, cheap thrills, partying, things like that. Well, that's what they're attached to. Not much more. Then the entertainment people search. Where do they get it? They don't. So when they make a movie, it has to have as much excitement in there to make the person get the thrill of having that kind of excitement in their lives. Zombies movies come out every year. Vampire movies kind of let up. They used to be, from the time I was little, there was always a vampire movie coming out. But they pulled away from vampires. Probably because there's a lot more chances of getting closer to a vampire than a zombie. At least in this reality. That one drug they call the zombie drug. These people completely lose their consciousness and start doing bizarre, crazy things and kill themselves and things like that. If you were abducted, your life changes. It's not like you got taught anything important. Not that you learned anything important. You might have learned that we each have our own aspect on that. But what does it do? Most people become, in a year or two, after a person's abducted, maybe 3 or 4 years, you become spiritual. Write a book and then go around preaching or teaching that you're a spiritual being. And if you listen to my shows, and you listen to me, I never use that. I never say that. The same as Jesus never said he was God. So, we each manifest reality. And how we go about playing within that reality is limited to the programs that we accepted and worked with all our lives. So when you go outside the box, when you look in the mirror, say, hey, I can go out there, I'm me, and open yourself to different ideas, you can try to experience different things that can help you see the things that you didn't see yet. You might know that you want to see them. Most people need to experience a death experience. Just my viewpoint. Without that, you don't understand what happens to the body and soul when they separate. Put it this way, when you step outside your body, soul is looking at it, which I did my first time even. Your body's breathing. It's still there, alive in some conscious state. Mind's still functioning. The body's still doing the things that it's got to do. But there you are. You don't need it. You don't need the air that the body's breathing. You don't need the eyesight that the body sees. You don't need any of that. So the idea that I call a car for karma, the body, but it's just something we temporarily use to get around, whether it's around the block, the neighborhood, on a plane to go to another country. But it's used as a transportation of soul. As soul, you don't need the transportation. You don't need the car. You can walk, you can fly, you can just be there. Direct projection, And at that level, you can go anywhere in the realm that you're in. Now, something I'm not going to get into now because it's just too much time consuming to deal with that, plus everything else I want to, is the different realms. Not the dimensions of the physical realm, reality, but the different dimensions in the higher realms getting closer to the higher worlds that God created. And only the higher souls can go there. Well, higher versus aware, you can use the same words. The more aware you are, well, you can be aware of a lot of things, but if you're not aware of God, you're aware of nothing. Sorry, and I stand by that. You believe in whatever you want to believe in. I would do anything to stand there on your deathbed with you and say, okay, where are you going? What are you doing? What's going to happen now? Who's going to be watching over you? What do you think they're going to do? A couple religions have different ideas of that. Like Buddhism has the idea of you go into this place and you stay there for 40 days and 40 nights called the Bardo. And then they get you out and then they reincarnate you. But how many times they go on before you realize you don't need to go through that? If you accept that that's what you have to do, you usually don't change it. So programming from religion or a spiritual path that you say you're on lock you into a reality that's not beneficial. So, how do we get beyond that? Well, you don't need to go to a psychic right now. Now we use the other two words. Alright, somebody asked me about the feelings of crying, the overwhelmed feeling. Well, if you allow yourself to be in touch with Earth and life, the energies in the world itself. I mean, by mass energy, mass consciousness is an energy. It's easy to step into that. Crying can come from happiness or sadness or both. But does it make it better or worse? No, it's just what it is. So if you walk into a room and you start crying, So the idea of the energy around you affects you greatly. You can go into a room of sick people, you're going to feel the energy. You could start crying. You could hear a song, it could make you cry because you're so happy, or so sad, so lonely. Energy affects your emotional body as well as your physical body. And if you're in tune, it's a lot easier to cry wherever you go because the energy is so in such movement and destructive energy right now. Look at the fires burning on the planet. If that's not sad, nothing is. Look at the volcano here in Hawaii. It took over 12 acres of people's houses and land. So, yeah, the world's cracking up. Every day I put the AOL up and go into my site. Oh, a shooting. There was a shooting this morning. 3 people got killed. My friend in Canada said 14 Muslims were shot and killed. I mean, is that where society's going? Well, we never let go of it. Let go of killing and murder. The world can move forward. That's why those laws were given to us. Not because some idiot said, well, I'm going to give you 10 laws to keep you in control. No, it was to live in a good situation. The 10 Commandments weren't written right by the translations. It's like pass this sentence around 100 people, it comes back slightly different or completely different. But when Moses was told, honor your parents, well, it's a return statement. I wrote it in my book that it's the opposite. Parents have to honor their children as well. Everything's in balance when you talk about things like that. What you give, you have to receive, or it comes back to you if you give. So this whole thing about life and family, we each work at a different level in that whether we accept it or understand it, or are willing to go through to the what